Hey guys, today on Average Reviews from an Average Guy, we're going to be looking at the Tonk Bros Dirty Bourbon Parlour guitar from Nineboys. Alright guys, and welcome to another Average Review. So today we're looking at the Tonk Bros Dirty Bourbon Parlour guitars from Nineboys. Now these guitars are built to replicate some of the 1930s, the pre-war parlour guitars, and that is why we have this incredibly weird, rustic, battered finish on it. I'm a big fan of this style guitar. I love a guitar to look old. I don't know why. It's an aesthetic thing. I'm just weird like that. So in order to make it as authentic as possible, they've made it from birch plywood. So the whole body, back and sides are birch plywood. And this gives it a really boxy, slightly gainy tone. Which works very nice for those sort of deep south blues style pieces. The neck is a multiple laminate and it is really chunky. It's one of the chunkiest. In fact, let me get this right. It is 23.7 millimeters at the first fret and goes up by the 8th fret to a 28 millimeters. So this thing is really chunky. You got a lovely engraving of the Tonk Bros logo on the headstock and some chrome old style tuners on the back there. They come with built-in electronics with no external controls. And we've got a 12 fret meeting at the body, which replicates the older parlours from the 1930s. So I'm going to play through it and give you guys an idea of the sound, and then I will talk you through some of the problems that I've had with this guitar to make you aware. That's a long and interesting story, but I'll keep it as short as possible. But first, let's listen, okay? So here we go. Okay, so that's standard tuning, but for me, this thing really comes alive when we start getting a bit more swampy, so we're going to go a bit dadgad. Okay, so there we go. Now, you could probably hear there that this thing has got quite a bit of drive to it. It's really, really gainy in those mids, which is perfect for what they're going for. It's got a very old school, deep south bluesy kind of sound to it. Now, a better guitarist could probably come along and play some Robert Johnson and really show this thing off, but that ain't me. I found that the neck is very, very chunky, which means it's not the most comfortable guitar I've ever played. However, it was a lot more comfortable than I thought it would be. The intonation felt off to me. I had to retune every time I capoed, and the higher up on those frets I was getting, the less it seemed in tune. Now, I have read reviews that have praised the intonation on that thing, but we will come to that in a bit. All in all, as far as sound goes and looks go, I think it's great. There are other issues, but we will cover that in pros and cons. Pros. This thing looks old and beaten and worn and trashed, and to my opinion, it's beautiful. It's a lovely look. If you're after something that looks more pre-war, this is it. It looks fantastic. Keeping in line with those 1930s Parlours, this thing has got a very boxy, driven sound, unplugged, which means it really has that swampy, bluesy feel when you're playing it. It's a parlour guitar, which means it's very, very small. So for a travelling musician, it's the ideal size. It can be taken on airplanes as hand luggage. It fits in pretty much any car, and it's just easy to transport. And it's not an expensive guitar. It's right in those low, mid-range prices. Cons. Prepare yourselves. The intonation is not perfect on this thing. This is the third one I've had, and this is the first playable one I have had. There was an issue with the supplier and some of the worst customer service I've ever had. I won't mention their names because I'm not petty, but it wasn't the greatest customer service, and it took 8 months to sort out. The action is very high, which means it's not the easiest guitar to play. The tuners are good, but they're not the best quality. Now, this could be an intonation issue as well, but I'm having to retune quite frequently when I'm playing it. But for me, I think the biggest con of all is the onboard electronics just pulled out at my last gig. No yanking, no hard, harsh treatment of the guitar, just came straight out with the cable. So this leads me to my mini rant. The first one of these that I received, the machine heads were not working. They just wouldn't tighten the strings. That was annoying because I had already waited 4 months for that one. So that one got sent back and we waited for another one. So we got the second one, where the nut was not actually joined to the neck. It was sitting above and wonky, which meant the strings were somewhere around here, and again it was unplayable. So we sat and we waited for the third one, and 8 months later here it is, and the onboard electronics have just torn out of the bottom after 3 gigs, I believe. Now, I do know that Nineboys were struggling to keep up with demand over Christmas, which is why there was such a long wait afterwards. I also know that they were trying to rush these orders out because they were feeling bad. Now, it could very well be that the quality of these guitars are not the usual Nineboy quality, but a rushed version in order to try and meet customer demands. Now, that's not an excuse, but it could be a reason. I would thoroughly recommend trying them out, ordering them. If you're looking at this sort of thing, ordering it with some sort of 30-day money-back guarantee if you are unhappy with the item or if you don't want it. It's a shame because I love the look and I love the sound, and if I thought that I could trust it, I would get another one, another replacement or a repair, but you know, 3 strikes, you're out. Anyway, I hope this helped. There doesn't seem to be a lot of information about these guitars online, which is why I ended up just buying one to see what it was like. Let me know if you've got any experience with these guitars, or if you were looking at them, or if you play any other Parlour guitars that are designed in a similar way. Just hit me up in the comments, let me know. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I've been Simon from Tomorrow Bird, just an average guy, giving you an average review. Till next time.